Good morning, everybody. Wow, what a beautiful weekend it is here in Phoenix, Arizona. We got so many activities going around all throughout the valley. And of course, the most important thing happening this weekend, right here on Sunday morning at La Casa de Cristo, we're gathering for worship. It's such a blessing to be with you here online as well. This is that which takes place in between the before and the after. This is the interlude. And for the interlude today, we want to do something very special. We want to bring in some amazing people that help make this church run and help allow it to do what it does. These are, of course, the members, the faithful of the church who serve in so many ways. So I want to introduce you to a couple of those people here. We're going to meet all sorts of them this morning. But first, starting with you, will you share with us your name, please?
My name's Terry Shelley.
And I'm Doris Shelley.
Terry and Doris, I know you do so much here at the church, but give us a little background as to your history. When did you first start coming to La Casa de Cristo?
We joined in 1982, which is 40 years ago.
Wow.
And we were just in the little building on Thunderbird. The sanctuary hadn't even been built yet. And so we were there with Pastor Garman and Diane and Pastor Peters.
So you've been a part of this congregation for 40 years. I can't even imagine all the changes that have taken place over that time.
Yeah, it's changed quite a bit, but getting bigger and the people are just as nice.
Amen. Do you happen to remember like one of the first things that you got involved in? Was there a service activity or otherwise? Where did you first jump in?
I first jumped in the softball team. We had two softball teams at the time, and that was a lot of fun. We made some great friends, still are friends.
That's so wonderful. Yeah. And I know that you're so very involved today. You're plugged in so many ways. Can you give us an example of some of the different places you serve here through the church?
Well, when we started out in our 30s, we were involved in Sunday school, teaching Sunday school, and Terry was on the church council for a number of years. And then we just, as we matured and our children matured, we got into different things that appealed to us, VBS and ushering for Terry. We've just grown with the church, and we feel so blessed to be part of this church all these years under the wonderful leadership of all the pastors and assistant pastors that we have, including yourself, Matt.
Well, thank you, and likewise to you. I mean, you give me inspiration because I always see you at the big events and I'm talking in particular about the service events like Angel Tree. You're very important in that ministry. The Easter Basket Ministry. What can you tell us about those? Some of the more recent things you've been involved in.
The Angel Tree. We've been involved in that for almost since it started. Before we came to this campus. And it's been very inspirational, a lot of fun, to deliver the presents to the little kids, and their eyes get bigger than saucers. And and Doris has been in the Angel or the
Easter Basket.
Yeah.
I actually dreamed up that idea one day when I was trying to think how we could service the elderly people in our congregation. And with Janet Zenti and Jean Bethune, the three of us worked it all out together, and we did that for many, many years, and it's still ongoing, which I'm happy to see.
And that is so fun to hear because not only are you involved, but like you say, you initiated it. And it's great for any of us that, that's what the church is about. You get an idea and you go for it and you put your life into service and action. So thank you, Doris, for what you do. One final question for you. Yeah. Is there anything particular to worship? I know we're always trying to get people to be involved in worship through ushering, communion servers. In what ways have you served in worship before?
Oh, I joined the choir after I got off the church council. That was in the 90s, and I was in choir for a long time, and now I'm ushering. As I get older, I do calmer things.
So we need some more people to come in and take your place.
Yes, too. Yeah, and one of the nice things about getting in and doing these service things, you meet some great people. Yeah. And we've made some great friends over the years. A lot of them have moved away, but they're still friends. So,
very good.
That's a bonus.
Very good. How about you, Doris?
Well, I've been a communion assistant for a number of years, and then after my father passed away, I was at his funeral in Michigan, and I realized what a great service the memorial service volunteers are to the families. And so I'm volunteering in that as well. And we've been leading Lenten groups for a number of years as well.
Well, Doris and Terry, thank you both for all that you do. You really are the life of this church, and you help make this place what it is. So thank you. We have some more volunteers that are actually helping with worship this morning, and Chris is up on the other side of the sanctuary up top. I'm going to throw it over to Chris. Chris, if you're there, if you'll introduce us to who you're working with up there.
Hello, Pastor Matt. We are up here. We are with a lovely family, Kim Atchison and Drew. Both have been longtime serving members of this church. Kim, you have done so much for this church, starting from, tell us when you started, what you started doing here.
Well, thank you, Chris, for having us. When we first started at La Costa Cristo in 2008, the kids were in grade school, so I did all of the traditional volunteering with VBX and teaching Sunday school, and moms. I was on the Moms Leadership Board. And I did a lot of those seasonal things like Easter basket ministry until Pastor Garman tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, you want to be the worship coordinator." And so I've had the joy and the privilege of serving for about 8 years in that capacity.
You don't usually say no when Pastor Garman comes up, and it's always a fun time.
It is. It's a blessing and well, I won't say curse, but it's an opportunity
Right, it is.
to serve, and it's always welcome when someone asks you, and I think most volunteers are serving here because they've been asked by someone.
Well, he couldn't pick a better person. You were always such a welcoming, smiling face when everybody's walking into worship. I know I felt that when I first started coming here, so thank you for all your many years of service. You also have Drew here, your son, who, as you say, grew up in the church, and now he's back here as a volunteer operating our camera. So I'm going to ask you to step just aside really quick. Drew, and why don't you just take the mic real fast? I know that you camera guys don't like to be on camera, but hold it right up nice and tight there. So you've been actually operating the camera while Pastor Matt was just doing the interview.
Yeah, I've been up here the entire time, all morning. I'm here basically 8:15, 9:15, 10 o'clock, and I'm tracking everyone, making sure that everything goes smoothly up here.
And you're getting the main shots, the really good shots. This is our best camera, and you are on it all the time.
Yeah, I'm on it most services. I alternate with some of the other guys who are up here as well, but for the most part, this is where I'm at.
This is where you are. And so we're going to toss it back to Pastor Matt here in a second. And you've already lined up his shot with a few more volunteers that we have down there. So you've already got it ready to go. We didn't even know. You just did it in the background.
Yeah, always working in the background, making sure everything's all set.
So awesome. Well, you guys, thank you so much for all that you do here. We really appreciate it. The church obviously runs on great people like you and here, and we really appreciate all you do. So, Pastor Matt, are you down there? Are you ready? I know that Drew set you up. I can see you on camera, so you've got to be down there.
Chris, man, you have an incredible crew up there. Thank you so much for that team that you work with, and Drew, you're literally on the camera right now filming, so thank you for all the work that you're doing. I got some more worship volunteers here. We got 3 of them that are so important into the worship life of our church. Will you please go ahead and introduce yourselves, then we'll talk about what you're doing here.
Sure. I'm Charlotte Pancamo.
And?
Jason Pancamo. Paul Petsky.
Now, the 3 of you, you're not up front here in the sanctuary, but you're usually back in the rear of the sanctuary. What are you doing back there?
So I love coming on Sunday mornings to hand out bulletins and greet everyone with a smile.
Such an important job. Thank you for being the welcoming face for all that come into worship.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And Jason, what are you doing back there?
Yeah, as Charlotte kind of mentioned, we're part of the ushering team. We get here a little bit earlier than most people do. We get the opportunity to actually see everybody in the congregation for the 8 o'clock service come through the door. It's a great opportunity to meet people early, smile, and get to know folks a little bit. So it's just a great part of our Sundays every day.
Yes, thank you so much. And you have a third member of your team here.
Yes. Well, and I think the other aspect that we do is we do sit in the back and we watch out over the congregation. If anybody would have any problems, we could make sure that the nurse is called or the 911 is called. So it's another duty that we do by scanning over the audience and making sure that everybody's not having any distress or having any problems.
Yeah, and we thank you so much because most people don't even realize, all that it takes when you have a big mass gathering of people like this. Not only that you're watching over the cleanliness of the place, which we so appreciate, but like you say, Paul, the safety of people and just making sure that, when the worship leaders are up front and we're doing what we do, that we know that all the people of God are in good hands with you and you're watching over everybody, making sure people are safe. and doing, of course, the important aspects of worship, the collection of the offering which people give, and just so many components to it. So we thank you for what you do, all three of you, and I know you have more members of your team. We're grateful, and we hope that more people can be involved, because it's really great to be involved in the life of the church here and worship. So thank you for everyone for what you do here to make La Casa de Cristo what it is. This has been The Interlude. God bless you.